All right, guys. So today was a very challenging day, but ended up being my biggest day of the year. So let's get into exactly how I did that. So, first, context as always, right? So, actually, at the beginning of the day, I said I'll likely take no trades because the best possible scenario already happened, which was if you watch my previous videos, you'll know that in a ranging environment, I like to play breakout fails. Okay. So, CPI data came out, and ES right here, as you can see on the 5 minute chart, came broke pre-market lows and rallied off of that. Whereas NQ had a 30-minute demand zone here. Okay, see that right here. All right. So NQ being the stronger index, bounced at demand, and ES did the breakout fail. So I thought that we wouldn't get a better setup than that for today. Now, when we opened, again, it was a breakout fail, as you could see, but it started selling off 10 minutes before the market opened. So I didn't see a short entry. Nobody else that I trade with saw a short entry. This was a very strange price action in the morning. Now, being that NQ broke above its resistance, right, off of that CPI data, I also noted that being the NQ being the stronger index and a broke resistance, that's a bullish indication. So if you remember in my previous videos, we talked about relative strength and weakness. I said if the strong index breaks resistance, that's a bullish sign, right? So I wanted to find an area that it can pull back to for longs. So the first area was on ES, this demand zone here. Okay, let me delete this. Was this demand zone here? It was lining up with demand at the same time. NQ was starting to show this volume here at the prices that CPI traded at. So I was under the assumption that maybe it can find buyers at where CPI was originally bought up, while ES would find buyers at demand, right? Because again, you want to see the strong index. I'm sorry, you want to see the weak index hold support. So we were at support on ES, which was the weaker index. Okay. If I know it could be a little confusing, but if you watch my other videos, you should get it by now. So as you can see, ES was weaker than NQ the entire day. All right. Now let's get into my entries and exits. So see, market opened even off of before pre-market. There was nothing significant up here. Just opened and started dumping. So again, my entry, first long entry was at demand, right? I saw this volume spiked over here, pulled back into it. Right, I'm liking the volume I'm seeing here. I'm thinking that this is getting bought back up. So I entered, took a 5 point loss here. Right? Again, when I entered here, that was ES at this demand zone, right? And NQ at the CPI data prices. Now, I took the L there. Okay, so down here at these lows, ES came into another demand zone, and NQ was it was this they we had this 1 hour, excuse me, 30-minute demand zone over here. I deleted it because it was already filled over here, but I still saw it visually, and plus it was a breakout fail, right? So that was my confluence on NQ, and then ES was, like I said, at its demand zone. So both indexes came into an area of support at the same time, and let's look at how that looked over here. So selling was large the entire day. So all of this that you see here, that looked consistent throughout the day. Now, when we had this pop up, okay, this is when I became interested in longs because there were other demand zones that got invalidated, but this is the first one of the day that we actually had a pop up on. So now I wanted to see price be able to sustain above this area. Okay, you see where the rejections are, rejections. So once I saw the volume over here, I entered. This was my entry. I didn't like this entry because, like, where would you put your stop loss? That was my initial thoughts here. Entering here, my stop loss had to be over 9 points, right? So I did put my stop loss uh, below this area. That's where my stop was. I said if it couldn't hold these highs, I'll get out and look for another entry. I couldn't risk 8 points on that. So instead, I risked about, well, 4.25. All right. So that was my thought process there. I entered and rolled this up. Now here, where I trimmed 16.75 points, that's when ES got back to its 20 EMA on the 5 minute. Okay, which it met some resistance, and then you see this bar that, huge rally bar. Usually, there are orders that are left unfilled when you see large bars like that. So you see even here, large bar, price comes back and usually wants to test prices in here because when a bar moves this fast, sometimes there's orders that are left unfilled. Okay, so I took off majority of my position here. All right, it was holding pretty well, and once I trimmed that, it was risk free, and there was like all the stress was gone from it. So the rest of the ride up was pretty easy. And where I got out here, hit almost 40 points. It was incredible. I had to step away from the desk. I was filled with way too much joy. So huge, biggest trade of the year, guys. It was incredible. But I did exit when I saw selling volume pick up, and then we rejected this key level here, as you can see, with some volume. And that was right here. Okay, which was also getting back into, we're getting close to these pre-market lows and CPI, uh, the CPI area, CPI price area, and also NQ was at a resistance. Okay, NQ was at a resistance, and remember the rule: it becomes bearish if the strong index is holding resistance. Excuse me. So that was my reason for the exit. I mean, yeah, sure, if I held on to that, phew, I could have took the rest of the year off, I guess. But yeah, I mean, we can't predict those things. So overall, very happy with today's trade. And you know, I know these things I talk about with relative strength and weakness, supply and demand zones. It could be a bit confusing. So if you have any questions, I invite you to leave a comment, ask me anything. I'll get back to you. So I'm ended there, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.